Welcome to the Shadow of Comics podcast. I am just I am being joined right now by my co-host, Mr. Raven. How are you today?
Not bad, not bad. Happy 10 years to
Happy
Squad Suicide One.
happy 10 years indeed. We're actually in the middle of a pretty big trending event right now at this time. I was just giving the listeners kind of just an introduction and hope they're doing well today. This is a very special broadcast, probably I would argue one of my most anticipated broadcasts um, since the duration of the show. So you and I, just kind of background for the listeners, we kind of formed our friendship over the whole Ayer Cut situation, and we're going to get to that. But today,
I mean, we used to be enemies too, but
yeah, hey, you know what? Sometimes you got to go. It's hell trying to get to heaven. That's what I would say to our listeners. But anyway, Ty, happy 10 years because on this day 10 years ago, Warner Brothers released the first ever live screen adaptation of Suicide Squad. And basically, I think we should give our listeners kind of the background about the situation with the movie. The movie we saw in theaters was drastically changed in the editing room, tonally, uh, basically from what I understand, plot points, first and third act, in heavily parts of the second. Basically, the whole movie was changed according to its director
and visually,
and
it
visually.
wasn't supposed to have said colors popping at you every couple of minutes for no reason at all.
Exactly. So the great David Ayer, who was known for End of Watch and Training Day, was brought in to direct this movie. He's described his cut as a
And
dark
Fast
soul
and Furious.
and Fast and the Furious, of course. He's described his original edit as a dark, soulful gothic drama. And as of right now, there is currently a trending event for our community and for just the DC fans to see this movie released. So I think that that's just absolutely excellent. But we're not going to talk about that too much. We're going to kind of get into what the Ayer Cut is in the second half of our video. So I just want to start off with the theatrical edit and reviewing the movie that we saw, the movie that's
Slash
widely
extended
available,
cut.
slash the extended cut. Um, so I know you and I have kind of disagreed on this. So I'm a big Snyderverse fan. I love Batman versus Superman, the director's cut. I love Man of Steel, and I obviously Zack Snyder's Justice League, incredible movie.
I also
But
like it. Aquaman, the first one, sort of.
the first Aquaman's okay. It's not an amazing movie, but I would say it's totally horrible, I think. Um, it's a good movie. Um, but let's kind of talk about the theatrical cut of Suicide Squad because I was rewatching this movie the other day in preparation for the Ayer Cut. I was listening to the soundtrack on the way back from the gym last night, and I think that this is not
Soundtrack
a.
or score?
There is a better score. We'll get to that later on in the video, but this is what I could say about the theatrical edit as dubbed Studio Squad because it kind of is in the same vein of Joss Whedon's Justice League. I think there's good things in this movie. I don't fully hate it. I think the makeup is great. The characters look like perfect to me. Margot Robbie or Robbie, I should say, as Harley Quinn. She's a highlight in these movies, especially in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. In this one, she's incredible. I like Will Smith, the casting of Will Smith and Jai Courtney. Pretty much everyone in the movie is well cast. And I like the first act of the movie, setting everything up, even though it's very choppy. And the one thing I remember about this version that I really didn't enjoy so much, and I think it's we'll get to the true director's cut, I should say, is just how choppy it is from the Dossier's version. Like for those of you who haven't seen Suicide Squad, Amanda Waller, the movie opens up in Belle Reve, and then it goes from Belle Reve prison where all the supervillains are kind of kept, and then it cuts to Amanda Waller, kind of introducing all of them. And to be honest with you, I mean, I'm a big fan of Suicide Squad. I think we should just kind of very briefly go over for the plot of this 10-year-old movie. The plot of this movie is Amanda Waller gets a team of supervillains together to prevent future threats because they've seen things like Superman and they try to. It's basically humanity's answer to getting villains who are bad people, obviously, because they're villains, and getting them to work in their country's best interest. And all that is great. But the problem is for me is that this movie's a mess. It's a complete mess. The editing is all over the place from start to finish. Um, the performances, again, even though it's a very well cast movie, and I think aesthetically it's one of the better looking DC movies or comic book movies, I should say. It's also kind of ugly at points, as you said. Like they changed many things, including the villain. From my understand, we've heard through the grapevine, which we'll get in the second half of the video about Enchantress. Um, the big thing I think people remember about this movie is Jared Leto's Joker, and I want to say Jared Leto's a phenomenal actor. He is. He was great in Dallas Buyers Club. He was great in Fight Club, the limited screen time he has. Um, but is the joke, and he plays this in this movie, this
Oh,
version
and
of the
side note, he's good as Skeletor and Master of the Universe. He's probably the best part of the movie.
he was. I really did like He-Man. That was a good movie. Um, but yeah, I mean, I remember hearing at the time of this movie's production that his Joker was like revolutionary. It was like a next step in acting. Like he had really immersed himself into this character. And when you watch both the extended version of this film and the theatrical cut, he's barely in this movie. He's got a total of maybe 5 minutes, and those 5 minutes are really not very good. But that's just my opinion. I don't know if it was the editing, and honestly, for a movie called Suicide Squad, there's really not much. I want to get kind of into the Ayer cut, and then we'll give our star ratings because there's a lot more interesting stuff with Ayer's version of the movie than this version. Um, the ending of this movie just feels like just a gigantic mess. For those of you who don't know, the movie ends. This is spoilers. We're gonna do spoilers. So Enchantress is obviously the villain of this movie. Amanda Waller lets her out, and then they go to, I believe it's Metro City, where they stand up and stop Enchantress. There's a big
And her
beam
brother.
in this. What'd you say?
And her brother.
And her. Oh, I forgot about Incubus. Yeah. So they stop her brother and her, and they just throw a bomb into a beam of light that she brought to the city, and it blows up, and the movie's over. And then Joker breaks Harley out of prison. It's I mean, yeah, it's a shame. It's all I can say is that it's a shame because the theatrical version of the movie has things in it I like. I think it's just the overall package is just a badly edited film. It's a very
All right,
badly
let's.
edited, at times badly made film, and there's really not much I can say. And I don't blame the cast. I don't blame David Ayer. I blame Warner Brothers getting spooked by the reception of Batman versus Superman and basically cutting the whole movie up. I really don't want to spend too much time on it because in my mind it's not the real movie. So why do we need
All
to
right.
talk about a movie that's not the real movie?
So I'm gonna give my thoughts on the movie because I think you're underselling, and I think you're also missing some stuff. It made 749 million without China, right? That's first and foremost. I know box office isn't everything, but it always showed that people like the movie, and there's an audience because despite what people tell you, Rotten Tomato scores don't mean anything. When a film makes relatively that much money, especially without China, that tells you that people went back for multiple showings and that relatively people enjoyed the movie, That's how you
Hmm.
when movies make after an extended amount, it's typically because people are going back to repeat showings. Because not everyone is into cape shit and, superheroes and Suicide Squad, which isn't it wasn't really a popular IP back then, for being honest. At least not how popular it is now in pop culture, first and foremost. So, that's how well it did. All right, let's get to the movie itself. The movie itself, it has great casting.
Hmm.
Um, from Harley to Katana, Killer Croc, Captain Boomerang. Who else am I forgetting? Oh, Nicole Kidman as
Oh,
Rick
none.
Flag.
Who is it? Who is it? You said Nicole Kidman?
Yeah, as Rick Flag.
No, Joel Kinnaman.
Oh, fuck.
You said
Yeah,
Nicole
Joel Kidman.
Kidman.
Oh, I said Nicole. Yeah, my bad. I'm
It's
thinking
okay.
of isn't that the chick that plays Aquaman and then the girl
Aquaman's
from
mom.
Batman? Yeah, and then the girl from Batman Forever, Chase Gideon,
That's
or I
right.
think it's
That's
her name.
right. That's
I
right.
always forget that actually she's like one of the few actors that have been in multiple DC films. But yeah.
Oh, good catch.
So
Good catch.
yeah, so you have the great cast. You have a great soundtrack. And, you know, if you look from just if you look at like costumes for Halloween, people to this day, wear that Joker and Harley outfits. They don't wear the James Gunn one. They don't wear they don't wear the Suicide Squad ones, and they do not wear the Birds of Prey outfit either. Though I like Birds of Prey, and I even think her outfit in the Suicide Squad is great. I mean, the movie itself isn't good, and then Birds of Prey I actually like, but whatever. So anyway, back to the movie. So besides the great casting, the good soundtrack, the good costume design, which by the way they won an Oscar for, like, for
They did.
the outfits, which again shows how popular and how people like this movie and how well it did. Um, yes, is there issues with the editing? Yeah. I only personally, I know there's like, there's issues with the Joker in this. I actually think he's fine. Like, I mean, is he? See, the problem is that fine would be good enough if he wasn't sold, at least in the original comic control, as the main one of the main characters, which he isn't in the theatrical cut of said film.
I agree.
Like, fine, we were sold something that wasn't shown. Like even in the trailer, there's a scene where he literally has a grenade and he's like goodbye, and then you never see that in the film. Which is, if you
hmm
know your stuff, that's pretty much hinting at when he comes back and he's being controlled by the Enchantress. And yeah.
I mean, again, I think we should just wrap it up and get to kind of what the actual movie is and what we know about it. Because you're right.
Anyway, let's just wrap this up. Yeah. So it's a good movie. I don't think it's like great. I still think it's a good movie. It's a fun movie. Is it like peak or like some of the best CBM thing ever? No. It's an enjoyable watch. Like, what I mean, it's not perfect by any means. The editing destroys it from being great. But like visually it's beautiful. There's a beautiful shots. I remember, like, especially the scene where the Enchantress transforms for the first time, and you see her go into that what do you like? I don't know, the black form or whatever. Yeah, so it's not perfect by any means, but it's a solid film. There's a lot of good action scenes. Like one of my favorite scenes is the Deadshot scene where he's showing off that he's this great marksman, and he's like selling himself to Amanda Waller and everyone. Yeah, I think that's a great scene. Anyway, yeah. So we can get to there.
Well, let's give our star ratings for the theatrical cut of Suicide
Oh
Squad.
my
So,
God, Shadow, fix your mic.
oh,
The hell
sorry
is
about that.
that?
Can you hear me now? Now? Yeah, that was just a energy surge. Sorry about that. It was weird.
Okay,
My
you're good
apartment, there
now.
was like an energy surge. The lights went off. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, let's get to our star rating. So, what is your star rating for Studio Squad? Well, what did you think? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're
Oh,
all good.
all right.
All right, so my star rating. So if we're gonna do like the typical 1 through 5 star rating, I'm leaning a 3,
You leaning at a 3?
3 out of 5. Yeah.
Okay, so a 3 out of 5 for you. I'm going to give the 2 out of 5. Again, and I released the Ayer Cut. I want to see the real movie because this it's a chopped up, edited mess. It's a movie that you can tell was heavily messed with behind the scenes. It was a movie that you can tell had very little plan of what they were going to do outside of just make it
Oh,
lighter and make it more pompy. Um, there's really, is it the worst DC movie of all time? No. And to be honest with you, in my opinion, is it the worst of the original Snyderverse era movies? In my opinion, it is. If I had to rank them, BVS is above there. Man of Steel. Then I'd say the Snyder Cut, obviously, which we saw that years
but
later.
the problem is that with that argument, Aquaman doesn't. If you want to count Aquaman, I don't personally, but if, whatever you want to count Aquaman, yeah. Man of Steel didn't need a director because it's the actual vision. BVS has his director cut out. The Snyder Cut has his director cut out, or whatever you want to call it. So it's like, I understand what you're saying, but it's also not really fair. And then and also obviously Wonder Woman, but Wonder Woman is an interesting case because it was fucked with to some extent, but that was, from my understanding, just the ending.
Yeah, you're right.
And if we're being honest here, I don't really trust Patty Jenkins to begin with. If you see 84, and she's telling you there's a different version out there, maybe in this case, maybe they did the right thing. Who knows? But I'm all for creative freedom and director's vision. So I mean, or at least Patty the Jenkins cut or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's to me. I'm just saying that's not a fair comparison. And I just wanted to add too. I think the characters for the most part, the only one I think is not really done well in the studio cut, and I wanted to add this for a reason, is that Katana is great, but you only get a little bit of her backstory, and I didn't think that for a lot of the characters that's really the issue. The only characters really got some of a backstory for was Katana, Harley Quinn, um, and Rick Flag. I don't think I'm forgetting anyone in terms of backstory. Oh, and Diablo, obviously, which again, Diablo to me is one of the best characters in the film. And typically in this film, usually the best characters so far have had great backstories. So I think that's what a lot of this film is missing. And obviously, we all know that a lot of that was cut. But anyway, I just wanted to add that's to me why it's a three for me and not a four or five because I love these characters because of how they look and how they act, but you don't have much to go off of, especially if you don't. I'm a comic book reader, but a lot of characters or a lot of these people that saw that film maybe aren't comic book readers of, especially for Suicide Squad. People typically just read this typical Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman comics. They're not really into Suicide Squad. Maybe now they are, but yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, I can't really add too much more to that. I think we should get really into the Ayer Cut because that's kind of why we're all here. That's why this movie still trends to this very day, why I think it'll trend to the end of comic book fandom. Let's talk about what's changed in the movie from what we know. So I'll kind of give my rapid points of what I know was changed, and you can kind of fill in the gaps along the way. Feel free to correct me. So, from my understanding, is that the movie was going to start with June Moon, who is the researcher who gets possessed, the main villain of the piece, by Enchantress. It would start with her discovering the Enchantress demon, creature, whatever, getting possessed, sets up her as the main villain. Then it would cut to Joker escaping from Arkham Asylum and torturing Harley. Uh, from my understanding, is that correct?
yes, but the that scene where she's in the forest and that's that scene's much longer, and you get to see a lot more June
And I
and
recommend.
how
Good.
no continue.
Well, I was going to say I'd also recommend because I own the Suicide Squad novelization for anybody that is curious about what the original movie was to read. I've actually been flipping through it. It's a very good book and it's a lot better than the theatrical cut. Um,
I mean, I want to book and a movie are different mediums, but I mean, does it give you a lot more in terms of like what the haircut should be? Yeah. And just FYI, the novel is based upon like an early draft or the early version of what this movie was supposed to be. It's not a 1A to 1B type thing. It's not like 100% copy and paste, but it's for the most part what it's supposed to be.
100%. And just kind of continuing from that point of what other I know is obviously the big one for me and the one that's going to be the biggest question that's going to keep me up at night is Jared Leto was cut heavily from this movie. And his Joker performance was basically omitted from the theatrical. So there's a lot of scenes, according to Ayer. Ayer described him as a threatening and powerful force of nature in his cut. And he has a story arc that hangs over the film. I never got that sense in the theatrical cut that he was anything but a side character that was being set up for a different movie. So that I would love to see those scenes. There's also the big one we obviously know is there's more katana interaction. There's an alternate scene with Deadshot. For those of you who don't know, who have not seen Suicide Squad, you are shown scenes of in certain flashbacks because the movie is very messy. So you see the way some of them got to Belle Reve, but you don't see the way others of them went to Belle Reve. Um, of how Belle Reve is the Supermax prison where they keep the supervillains. You see Batman capturing Deadshot, and in the novelization, you see more of this. There's a line that was cut where Batman says to Deadshot, the next time you see your daughter, she'll have gray hair, and that was omitted for the theatrical cut, which is a very messy scene in my opinion, probably one of the worst scenes in the movies of the way it's edited and just everything about it. Um, there's also more focus on Harley Quinn as the heart of the story. From my understanding, is that she's kind of got the Ray Fisher treatment for the Zack Snyder's Justice League to the Joss Whedon version, where she was heavily dumbed down and that she had a very dark and very powerful arc of her escaping this very abusive relationship from the Joker, which was very present in Mad Love. Um, I've all, and just kind of shooting it because there's a lot to this movie and there's a lot to this cut that we really should deserve to see. We as the
And then
fans
and with the
deserve to
Harley,
see it.
I want to add with the Harley stuff too. It's like when you watch it, they actually like, some of it is shown. Like remember when she jumps to the plane
Yes.
and he pretty much is like, well, just throws her like she throws her off her and she's like sad, you know, like it's she's thrown off the plane and it's like, okay, wow, that actually happened. Maybe he doesn't love me. And then obviously at the end he goes back with her just because, which is obviously the editing issue because in the original or in the Ayer cut is she she realizes, he doesn't actually love me and she breaks away. And that's why she connects with like someone like Deadshot, which is in the Ayer cut. Not because it's meant to be a romance, which, people that have seen the Ayer cut spoke on this. It's not really meant to be a romance, but it's meant to be it's um like leaving that and then like uh what she sees in Deadshot, right? I don't know if she has feelings for Deadshot, but she sees in Deadshot as an actual adult. At least this is my interpretation as an adult and a father. For much things, if you remember, even in like the studio cut, you see scenes where she wants to be a father, or not a father, but a mother of children. Because you remember, they actually go back. They have a scene where I think at the end, where the Enchantress is giving them everything they want, and she has a dream about her and Joker just having children. So I think that's very important to her, and yeah, and I think in a way she kind of looks up to that shot. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Yeah, I
because
mean,
she thinks she wants, I guess.
you could be right about that. I think kind of to wrap up the stuff that we know. Um,
Oh, and then the killer, there's a Killer Croc versus Batman scene, which
there
was a
is.
joke, is a joke that's removed. Um,
There's
that
also
sounds fucking epic.
there was also and I got this reported directly from a source I haven't talked to in quite a while about this. That there was an interaction between Joker and Batman that was removed regarding him killing Robin from because Batman vs Superman burned down Wayne Manor. What I can piece together is that Joker killed Robin, burned down Wayne Manor, and Batman came back from crime. And there's actually a Hot Toys of the Joker in a Batman suit. And the source who had told me about this Joker and Batman interaction said that that is in the movie, and it's kind of a trophy that the Joker takes. And like that's epic.
Also,
Like why didn't we see that?
also too, there's a scene where, well, two scenes, but one of my favorite scenes, which is it showed in the original trailer, by the way. So Joker, like since we're mentioning the Joker a lot here, Joker actually dies when he falls off the plane
Hmm.
in the studio, but he actually Enchantress brings him back, and he takes control of well she's Adrian takes control of the Katana slash Joker, I guess, of Katana, and it gets the sword, which her sword what does she say in the movie?
It
It
takes
pretty
the
much traps the
souls.
souls.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously Joker and her would have been a lot more, more of a character, and obviously there's flashbacks with Katana we didn't see. Um, Also Joker kills a judge.
Yes,
Like
he does.
he goes into the chambers and threatens the judge, which again goes back to what Shadow was talking about in terms of um more menacing character, you know. And also too, there's so I don't know if you guys know that or if you guys know this that are watching. There's an original score, like which I like the
Hmm.
soundtrack, but to me movies and typically movies work better with scores and the soundtracks and non-needle drops and stuff like that. I mean, I do like some of the songs, like the NMM song that they put in there. I forgot the name of it, but I really
Without
like that
me.
song. Yeah. Also, Heathens is a classic. Purple Lamborghini, Rick Ross, it's a good song too. But overall, it doesn't fit the tone of the movie. Like, 'cause tonally, the movie has multiple tones. It feels like at different parts of the movie. But the Stephen Price score is amazing. It's one of the best scores that I've ever heard. I listen to it constantly. It's on Spotify, it's on YouTube. I don't think it's on Apple Music. You can buy it on vinyl. I have it on vinyl here. And
I think
like,
it's on
there's even
YouTube as
been
well.
fan cuts. There's been fan cuts where people just even edit the original score into the movie and remove the soundtrack, and it improves the movie drastically alone. Like
Hmm.
that's how to me a score can make or break a movie, instead of like having weird songs at different moments of the movie for no reason at all.
Yeah,
And
and
yeah,
yeah, 100%. No, you need an original score. But yeah, just to kind of wrap this up because this was a big day for us, and we've kind of been talking off air about whether this movie's going to happen or not, the politics, and we
oh, I want to
also
add one more.
yeah,
I gotta add one more thing. So there's no secret that Jared Leto has allegations
right.
against him. If he is allegedly a pedophile, again, I
Hope you
always
can't
say,
say. Be careful. Say cheat. Pedo. We don't want to get
yeah,
demonetized.
if regardless if he's a pedo, obviously throw him in jail if that is the case. There hasn't been allegations yet. I'm seeing uh reports that the victims went to alleged victims, I guess they went to news outlets and they're telling them these things and they got proof. I always want to see people charged and due process because I always believe innocent till proven guilty. You know, not that I don't support victims, but nowadays we see victims always. So there's been times where victims lie to get a shakedown money. So just I always want to give people the benefit of the doubt. But if he's a pedo, throw him in jail. And yeah.
But do you still think that the Ayer Cut can still release even if
Oh,
the
and then yeah, that was the other thing. Sorry, I just wanted to add that about Leto. I think I think yes, and all people, but it has if he has a little allegedly a pedo, and if he has one, why would they release it? I said because it's not just about Leto, it's about David Ayer. The guy that put his heart and soul into this movie, and it was never released, and it's been 10 years. It's also for the other cast to see it. Fans were promised a movie back in 2016, and that original Comic-Con trailer is what even David said is what the Ayer Cut is supposed to be, tonally, visually, and yeah.
yeah, and I mean, I to kind of wrap it up about the Joker having a bigger role and a much deeper role, and Batman having a deeper role. I think it's also to know the third act was heavily changed too. Where you had in the third act in the theatrical, it's just nonsense, and David Ayers made jokes about it. With the Enchantress, and it just looks really bad. And the reason why is that was reshot from obviously as you mentioned earlier, Joker dies and gets resurrected by Enchantress, and Enchantress kind of, from what I gather from certain sources and certain things I've pieced together online and from David himself, is that Joker is used as like a pawn of Enchantress to manipulate Harley against the squad because they're coming to stop her. And Joker is promised to be the king of Gotham, and Enchantress like kind of proves that to him. I mean, you heard all these reports that Jared Leto was very into the role, and that he scared his castmates and all this craziness that was going on behind the scenes. And I can buy it with these reports, all these leaked stuff. I buy that because that sounds like a lot more of an intense Joker performance than what
Like
was
they said,
shown.
Ayer said it shared this shit out to executives.
Yeah, and this is to me this is the biggest what if in Hollywood history, and I I do want to see it one day. And we kind of there's so many other things we talk about, the deeper relationship between Rick Flag and June Moon, um, the Joker and
Oh, that's
Harley
my
stuff.
actually favorite part even about the studio cut is that they have this epic romance. Like the one scene that always sticks with me and that it's actually the same scene in the Ayer cut where they're going through the tunnel getting ready to go to battle and then remember the plant the bomb underneath. He's like I think he was talking to Deadshot and he's like, I never believed in love and shit. I thought that was up with like UFOs or whatever. I'm quoting, obviously. But until I met June. And like, have you ever been in love? Like that hits you in the heart, you know? 'Cause some people don't believe in love until they really find it. And yeah, scene like that, which is the same scene in the Ayer Cut, it's a beautiful scene. And that the movie needed more of that, you know, not uh, Killer Croc talking about what is it? Be
BET.
BET
BET.
and licking himself, you know. Like
Yeah.
that's ridiculous. But then there's also good moments where like Katana's talking to her sword and you know she's like pretty much praying in a way like if she dies today, we'll finally be together again. Like those are like the good parts about the movie, you know. And the movie needed more of that, not some of the goofy shit, you know.
100%.
There's,
I think that they should have just not ripped it from Ayer's control and just let him shoot the movie that he needed to make. And that's really
and
all I
well,
gotta say.
it was shot. Remember they submitted a cut and it wasn't the cut that Ayer submitted. But
Yeah, what I'm
whatever
saying is that
Ayer sub
they should not have taken control away from him. They should have given him the final say.
Yeah,
That's all.
I think directors should fail. They should fail on their own merits. You know, that's when
100%.
it comes down to it. Fail or do succeed, and you know the studio cut succeeded, and probably would still would have succeeded. You know,
I'll say this before we log off for tonight. There's going to be people because the Snyderverse movies and the movies around them tend to get a strong reaction from people. And what I would encourage for any of our listeners tonight, before you troll us in the comments, is to really think about art and movie making and the fact that we were robbed of a great movie. David Ayer has said it was like a epic war movie in the DC universe that was changed into this comedy. And for all the shortcomings of the theatrical cut, there is a place to have this Ayer's true vision released. And I believe it's a much better movie. And that's all I really need to say is that before you,
and the movie's almost done. It takes very little money.
yeah,
Fans want to see it.
I want to see it, you want to see it,
Unlike
you
the
know,
Snyder cut, where Snyder cut took 70 million to finish. The only thing that really needs to finish is the third act, and from what I heard, putting the score back into the movie.
yeah. And at the end of the day, it's to me, it's something that's cathartic for the fans, for David, and you know, it's
It would
something
give a
we
lot of
want.
fans closure to the original slate of the DCU before Walter Hamada, Jeff Johns, and company, later James Gunn, destroyed. You know, if we never get any Justice League sequels, I'm okay with that. Though I want to see them like really bad. But a film that's out there that's recorded, yeah, I think it should be put out. It's a director cut for God's sake. Back in the 2000s and the 90s, they did it all the time. I don't know what the issue is here, but you know, release the Ayer Cut.
100%, man. Well, I want to thank you, Ty, for coming on today, and thank you for everything that you've been doing for this community. It's been an epic journey. I look forward to going for it longer, till one day we see the movie released. Um, thank you for our listeners tonight. Please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And tell us in the comments, what do you think of the Ayer Cut? What did you think of the theatrical edit of Suicide Squad? Do you want to see David Ayer's movie? Do you not care about it? Whatever you think, comment below. Let me know. To quote Mr. John Campia, to paraphrase Mr. I can't really. He's kind of a hack, wouldn't you say? A little bit of a hack. But yeah, comment below. Tell us your thoughts because this is your time. And we hope we educated you today. And if you don't know, the shadow knows. So tune in with us
Fire
next
James
time.
Gunn, fire Peter Safran.
I, we tend to disagree on that. Let's see what happens. Is my ultimate goal when it comes to
Make
this.
DC series again.
Make DC. I do think they need to make DC serious again. But thank you so much for logging on tonight, listeners. Release the Ayer Cut. If you don't know, the shadow knows, and be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Peace.